All right. What's going on, everybody? Hopping in here. Gators Breakdown Plus
Gator
chat.
boys stay hot, baby.
Sean, you were in San Antonio. Gators boys stay hot. What's up? Thanks for hopping in. um, Hey, I'm glad you were the first voice I heard. This is going live on YouTube right now, Gators Breakdown Plus members. So, hey, Gators Breakdown Plus chat right here, going live on the YouTube, going live on the Twitter, going to celebrate. Hey, if you're watching now, you got that nice national championship poster that has been put out there. Hey, it's this is how we're going to do it. I want to celebrate this team. We're going to have a little bit of fun, but glad. A little group of you stopped in here having a chat right here on Gators Breakdown Plus, and man, what a game! What a game! Kind of just followed the story of the whole tournament for the Gators, didn't it? Not a great first half, not a great second half, really, but Florida finds a way just to get it done, and just standing up, antsy. It's just credit to this team. It fought through adversities all throughout the tournament. Could have folded, could have laid down, could have just not played well enough to pull these games out, but did it one more time. And we kept asking ourselves the question, could Florida play their best? They hadn't played their best this tournament. We know that, and it's kind of crazy to say. And I said this on the last chat. Opponents have a lot to say about that, of why Florida didn't play their best. But this team is holding a trophy, and I still don't think they played their best. That's mind-blowing right now. Played their best in stretches, and that's how they got it done. But credit to this team for hanging in there. And guys, thanks for hopping in. Let's celebrate this national championship team. You guys be shy now.
Hey, I want to jump in. We definitely showed out at the arena. I feel like there was more Gators there than Houston, but it was just amazing experience though. I'm glad we got that dub and we're national champions. Man, I'm so pumped right now.
Sean, I bet, man, you had season tickets. This is your first season ticket year as a basketball fan. You invited me to go to a game. We will sit there and watch Florida, Oklahoma. Thank you so much for that. And man, you and Angie traveled to San Antonio your first year as a season ticket holder, and you get to go watch this team win a national championship. So, hey, Sean, maybe you were what Gator Nation needed for this basketball title.
I was messing with Angie because Angie's got that black jersey on. We haven't lost when she wears it, so. I was like, well, you got to rock it all week here. So, it's still prevail undefeated. So, but yeah, first time season ticket holder in like actual seats. And yeah, we got the dub, man.
Yeah, man.
So wild, dude.
I bet. I'm glad you had fun there, man. I'm glad you got to go all the way there and watch Florida win a title. And you're right. I think the support was there for this team, and you can certainly tell. I remember watching the coverage on Saturday, watching the coverage throughout the day too, and you could certainly tell there were a ton of Gator fans. I think Gator fans really latched onto this team. And I said, look, it's easy. It's easy to root for this team. There's some great personalities on this team. And we were talking about it on the Gators Breakdown Plus message board today, or right there in the basketball chat of wanting of course a win, but I wanted a win for these guys. I mean, this is a good group of guys, good group of people, and I wanted to watch them play. They were a fun team to watch, and not just because they were winning. They play a fun style, a brand of basketball. That's what we got most of the season. And look, they had to play ugly this tournament. They didn't play their game. Florida wasn't doing a whole lot of running up and down the court this whole tournament, and found a way to get it done. Credit to them for winning in multiple ways in this tournament. Florida didn't play their game, and still, I think it's another testament to Golden, and another testament to this team that he put together, that they found ways to win when it wasn't pretty, but also found ways to win when it really wasn't their game. It wasn't really their style to play, and they fought ugly, and they did it against UConn, they did it against Texas Tech, did it again here to win the national championship. Yeah, so certainly a credit to this team for being able to just be so versatile and still come out on top. So I just wanted it for this group of guys. Even more so than myself. This was nothing selfish about this. I wanted to see this team win for them.
And I was on top of that, just for the transfer portal right now, I kind of told y'all a little bit from yesterday. I was talking to one of the boosters, but we got guards, assistant coaches lined up that want to come over here and be a Gator. So this is just going to make it another level now winning the Natty.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how it's to be easier to sell for sure. We know a couple assistants are getting head jobs, and thankfully they stayed throughout this whole process and coached this team during the tournament. But hey guys, don't be shy. You guys can hop in, and if you've got something to say, just let me know. I'll mute your mic, and I'll actually see you. So we got Troll. What's up, man? Okay. Maybe not. But
hey, sorry.
No, you good.
Said it's great to be a Florida Gator. Oh my God. I was stressed. My heartbeat was at 149 beats a minute during the game.
Oh,
like the last 3 minutes.
There you go. Mine jumped up to like 120 somewhere around there. So okay, good. You got me beat.
But man, what a game. I mean, just this team's resiliency. My God, like the whole tournament, I got to watch them at the opening round in Raleigh.
Okay.
And yeah, we seen it then, and man, we did it.
What was the where did you think this team was going to pull it out this time? Could we ask them to do it one more time? I think that was the storyline of this game. It was like, we've done it all tournament. Can they do it again? Can they really do it again? And they did it.
They did it, man. When we got down by 12, I got to watch it with my brother and my dad, and I was like, I don't know if we can do it this time, because Houston's defense was just like stifling for a while. Yeah. But then at the end, our defense just proved to be better.
65-63, and hey, look, right before this, I jumped on. Hey, Bull Gator, I got an echo from you. If you don't, okay, thank you. 65-63, and I just got off with Florida basketball era. Eric Fawcett sent me an invite, and I hopped on with him. So be sure you guys listen to that when he puts it out. But the way I ended it there, I was like, it was just so poetic for me in this game, with all the talk of Houston's defense. Going to your point, we got trolled. It was Florida's defense on the last possession of the game that makes the difference. And we knew this team was a good defensive team as well. And that was completely almost overlooked when talking about Houston's defense. And Todd Golden made sure for people didn't forget it. Hey, look, we're a top 10 defense as well. We're a pretty good defense ourselves. We're physical. We can play physical. He didn't let people know it, but you didn't really hear it much from ESPN. You didn't hear it much from CBS. You didn't hear it much from the broadcast about how Florida has been a pretty good defense throughout the season as well. And to me, kind of just poetic of all the talk of Houston's defense, and rightfully so, for sure. But it's Florida's defense in the end, in the clutch moments, that really came down and got this game on the very last possession.
I think we got to honestly say thank you to Will Richard. He kept us in this game, because if it wasn't for his first half, I don't think we had a shot.
Will Richard, Denzel Aberdeen coming off the bench, doing some good things too. The guards, carrying the guard spot for a bit until Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin got going. But certainly, guys had their moments. But you're right. I mean, Will Richard might have been the most talked about player today on the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord, besides Walter Clayton, of so many guys kind of predicting, hey, this is the Will Richard breakthrough game. This is when he's going to break through. And it was. Credit to him for, doesn't matter what happened before this game, putting his head down and keep shooting. And he was on fire in that first half.
All I got to say is,
we win, I turn the game off.
What a game. That was an incredible tournament all the way around. Super fun to watch us come out and finish this way, like you said, for this team. It was fantastic. I'm actually in the UK right now, so set my alarm for 1:40 in the morning to wake up and watch this, and wouldn't have missed it for anything. It was a hell of a season. Super. I had 0 points at half, and we would have had double-digit turnovers. I would have said we would be getting blown out. But yet again, this team pulls it out. So it's great to be a Florida Gator, fellas.
Add on 2 technical fouls.
Yeah, and the technical fouls won all season long. Florida doubles that in the title game, and it does not end up hurting Florida. Thankfully there. Bull Gator, what'd you say? You changed the game? You didn't watch it?
You said, what happened? I turned it off. Did we win? No, I couldn't believe that. I gave up about 10 minutes to go. I said, we're cooked. I was, I always comment on officiating, and they called it fairly evenly. When you look at in this first half, they swallowed the whistle, which definitely benefited Houston. But it's not like they called it tight for Florida and loose for Houston. They called it the same, and that's all you can ask for. In the second half, they had those 5 fouls on Florida. Bam, bam, bam. It was just, what's going on? Then they did the same thing to Houston. Fouls went after that point 11-2. 11 fouls on Houston to 2 for Florida after that. So, we can't say, they went against us. It really didn't.
Yeah.
In the second half.
Completely agree. And something else that switched, let me get back to this. I believe, oh man, I had it up and I clicked on something else when I was looking for something for Eric. But the Gators, if I remember right, yeah, here it is. What was it? 9 turnovers in the first half for the Gators, 4 in the second half.
We are a second half team.
Huge turnaround in the second half for sure. Huge turnaround.
Yeah, and that was
and I agree.
And that was the major one.
With up until about that 10-minute left mark, it felt like the refs had screwed us, but then it really evened out at the end. So definitely got to take the refs out of this one. There was a moment there where it was awful. It's like 5 fouls really quickly, but all in all, it was fairly evenly called, I think.
By the way,
It wasn't
not
just,
if you ask the Houston fans online, they're losing their, what.
Well, we would be too, but cooler heads prevail at this moment.
All right,
they said, sorry, in the last 3 minutes and 54 seconds, Florida forced 5 turnovers for Houston.
Ooh. There we go. Something else about their defense being talked about, and it was Florida's that stepped up at the end.
Florida's D was amazing at the end.
I think when they changed the lineup and went a little bit smaller too, that made a big difference for us being able to keep up with those switches on the picks too. We slowed their offense way down with that stuff.
Huge when they went small because their bigs had foul trouble. It was a game changer.
Yeah, and with our length and girth, we really put it to them,
And let's give Golden credit. That under 4 timeout, that play he drew up for Clayton for that 3, man. That was an amazing play.
What a dagger.
Yep. Draw it up for your guy. We knew he was eventually going to hit one. We were all saying it there in the chat. So credit there. Let's see. Lagway is King Arthur and
pick and roll.
Yeah, and Litigator. I'm gonna get you guys too, and I think both of you guys have been trying to hop in.
I just think, the last 3 or 4 games, it's been very evident that once it gets to the 6-minute mark in the second half, that's when we actually pull away. We have proved to be the best closers in America, and that's the difference, bottom line.
Okay, maybe not litigator. Since I do have this going on YouTube and Twitter at the same time, Dylan Burke on X did reply, guys, this is it. How are we supposed to sleep after that? all the talk about an 8:50, 9 o'clock start, and I think we knew if Florida was going to win, the night was going to go even later. So we're all going to be watching highlights all night long. We're going to be listening to press conferences and stuff. So maybe that's the part of it starting so late. It's not necessarily the game itself, but if you win, you're going to be up. But this is this will make the coffee taste better. This will make the coffee taste better tomorrow morning.
Absolutely, Dave. I have a question for you and the Peanut Gallery also.
Okay.
Do y'all think watching the game that Houston got tired? I think they did, but it was hard for me to tell because I was stressing so much.
There was one
Dryer
point.
definitely got tired.
Yeah, I think I don't remember who it was. When one of their guys hit the floor, it was like he didn't want to get up. I mean, maybe he was frustration probably played in that too. But at the same time, it entered that thought entered my mind. I was like, man, he looks tired. And I think, you know, Florida's the how deep Florida can go, certainly with the talking point coming in this tournament, and, you know, and the depth and the bench did shore up a bit. I mean, but credit to Aberdeen and Handlockton, they had their moments tonight. But you know, Florida, you know, certainly you shored up some minutes of some guys throughout the tournament, but I think had to rely on some other guys for minutes, and while other guys were struggling at the same time, like Clayton, and Aberdeen comes in and kind of helps out a bit. But certainly, it did enter my mind, Bull Gator, after seeing some of the way Houston players reacted.
And they were
Yeah, I think
sweating
it was
profusely. I mean, bad. Like they were. It's the kind of stuff when someone pulls you over and says you need to take a break.
I think wasn't that Harris after the when he went down to the ground after the I can't remember who was shooting free throws, but I thought it was Harris that
Maybe.
went down and just kind of sat there for a minute.
Yeah.
I'll
I
say
think it
this.
also- sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it also came in once we got Tugger that fourth foul. I think everyone they really screwed up their rotation. So I think that was at like the 10-minute mark or so. The game really changed then.
And as much crap as we give Condon, he sure enough showed up the second half for us tonight.
Yeah, again, yes, certainly, man. What a frustrating first half for him, and the traveling calls, and just not being able to handle the offense. Could not run through him. You know, we were saying that right there in the chat. Anytime, you know, if he could finish, you know, if he was the last one to touch the ball, fine. But if Florida was trying to run any kind of set through him, they were really struggling. Of course, the turnovers, not just him, piled up, but certainly almost every time Florida tried to go through him, you saw the offense get stymied there. So it was certainly a good point of him bouncing back and being a player there in the second half. You know, 2 games in a row now. You know, they stuck with him. I know you go back to the game against Auburn, and you know how still had his minutes and still played in the second half, but it was like almost get Condon off the floor and don't let him get back out there. But they stuck with him in the second half versus Auburn. They stuck with him in the second half versus Houston, and it ends up paying off.
He's
Him
one of our
diving on the
best
floor.
players. You don't want to go away from. It's like, why don't you take Walter Clayton out? He hasn't hit any points. Well, he's still one of your best players. You know he's going to get it.
Yeah. Hey, swimming in the swamp brings up a really good point, guys, on YouTube. 3 national titles while the rest of the state has none, by the way.
You have
They
to
said we're
love
the
that
first
bragging
program.
rights.
They said we're the first program with 3 in football and 3 in basketball too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that's been tweeted a lot. That's big deal.
Okay. Well, credit to me, guys. I've tried to get this ready. Like I said, I was on with Eric Foster, the Florida basketball era, for about 10, 15 minutes. So I've missed some stuff. Put out some links. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Saf, for putting it in the chat. If you want merchandise, there's links. Use my Gators Breakdown link right there on Fanatics. I shared them on Twitter. There should be a link in the description as well. Support Gators Breakdown by buying the national championship merch there at Fanatics. But right there, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. So if you're in Gainesville, I don't know if this has been put out there or not, but the national championship Florida Gators men's basketball team will return to Gainesville on Tuesday and host a welcome back rally with Florida students and fans at approximately 1:30 p.m. at Flavitt Field on Florida's campus. So there you go.
2 other fun stats from after the game today. So first one is that Todd Golden is the youngest coach to win a national title since Jim Valvano in 1983.
The year I was born, by the way.
And yeah, that's a good one. And then we joined UConn as the second team with 3+ national titles in the last 20 years.
Ah, there we go. That's the one I was going to go search for myself after, so now I don't have to. So thank you, Gator. I knew Florida had to be in that mix somewhere.
How about another interesting stat? Todd Golden has 6 wins in the tournament, and that's all came this year.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He was 0-2 before this, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Would have been 0-1, right? Well, at Florida, I guess 0-1. We were losing to Colorado last
Yeah,
year.
0-2 for his
Yeah.
coaching career.
Right.
One at San Francisco.
Yep. Bree MC on YouTube. We broke 3 hearts this season. Texas Tech, UConn, and Houston. I love it. Man, what a roller coaster those 3 games were. Certainly one more time to kind of just rehash it, but Florida, the team to beat coming into the tournament. Everybody was picking after Florida goes and wins the toughest SEC tournament that there has been. Florida wins that. Florida plays really well against the nation's best teams in that tournament. Comes out and Florida. It's odd to say, guys. And I don't want to make it sound like a shot to the team, but it is odd to say that they didn't play their best, and just imagine they had played better. And I want to give credit to the opponents one more time for that. They played a role here, but man, Florida didn't play their best, and they are still holding the trophy.
Yeah, to your point, Dave, I thought we looked a lot better in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
You have to
So I
feel good
wonder
for Elijah
if
Martin.
Mike Bianchi still believes that we're Twitter idiots that forced Mike White out of Gainesville.
I was waiting on that.
I think we still need to give credit to Zell because
Yes.
his amazing play to the basket where he wasn't fast and was in control. To me, that changed the game right there. It's giving us that bucket.
And that's a great point too, because Houston, almost every time Florida tried to drive, they were getting rid of it. They were blocking. They were not giving anybody who was driving to the rim or any guard who was trying to drive any clean shots, any easy shots near the rim. And once that one went down, you're right. I think it did start to change some things. Richard Hawkins on YouTube says you knew Florida was going to win in the last 5 minutes. G definitely, he hops in on YouTube, says we definitely wore them out going to Bull Gators point there. Richard Hawkins making sure to point out, yes, Condon showed up tonight. Yeah, I mean, credit to him for sticking with it. Offensively still, not where we saw him once this season, where he was getting a whole lot of love in that middle to late portion of the season. But his defense comes up huge in the last couple of games in the second half. JB says Gators Breakdown after dark must be a special occasion. Yeah, I'm not sure what that special occasion is.
So he was confident that we were going to win with 5 minutes to go in a 1-point game. Well, I wish I had his level of positivity.
Well,
it must be so much easier to go through life that way.
Eric asked me that too. What point did you stop believing or believing and stuff? I was like, I never lost faith because we had seen it. Now if we didn't see it this tournament, like if Florida had steamrolled the first few opponents like they did in the SEC, if it looked a lot like the SEC tournament, and then Florida had gotten in that situation, I'd be like, okay, this is not what we've seen. Florida may not pull this one out. I mean, there's still the possibility of may not pull it out, in this one as well. But since we had seen it against UConn, since we had seen it against Texas Tech, I was like, Florida's going to have to be down by 10 and like a minute and a half to go before I don't think this team can find a chance to win it.
Yeah, I put more money down on us when we were down by 12.
Do what, litigator?
I doubled down on my my bet on us when we were down by 12.
Oh, there you go.
So I didn't lose.
Yeah. Well,
that guy
that
guy that I couldn't think of yesterday, Dave. His name was Roberts.
Okay.
He was held tonight. So.
Yeah, I'll see if anything I can point out. I haven't even really looked at the box score yet. If anybody else notices anything, let me know.
He didn't shoot that well. Same way against Duke.
Yeah, Roberts 3 of 13 from the field.
I was gonna say he did not shoot well.
Yeah.
Like I was pointing that out against Duke. I was like, this guy can't put the ball in the bucket.
But
Well,
Will
well,
Richard.
that was well. Thank goodness. Well, thank goodness he didn't. But he was man. He was real active. I was just kind of worried about him though.
But don't this stats tell a story? Florida team highs. Will Richard, 18 points. Okay, that tells a story because he was able to help make up for Walter Clayton. Rebounds, Will Richard with 8, led the Gators. The same as Houston. Roberts led with 8 there. So then, but assist, Walter Clayton with 7. So look, he had turnovers too. He was part of the turnover problem in the first half, but also some just insane passes, down low, having the right angle, having the right arc, and getting the ball down low and take advantage of Houston in that regard. But yeah, having 7 assists, even when he wasn't on his night shooting, Walter Clayton still being a point guard. And look, a lot of times too, they took the ball out of his hands and let him try to come off ball and try and get into a groove in that way. But credit to him for also finding some key assists in the game.
You know what was really great about this team is that it seemed like when the adversity is at the most, it's at its highest, they're at their best.
Yep. Hey, one stat that goes to that, guys. How about that free throw shooting throughout the whole tournament? And tonight, 17 to 21. And Walter Clayton, what? He's ended up
Automatic.
Yeah, 4-4. I forget who he was behind when they showed the stat, but he was second in NCAA tournament history for free throw percentage shooting.
Did he beat it?
That's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering.
Like 4, he hit like 4 after that. So
I can tell you who needs to work on their free throws is hand lockdown for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be one. Richard Hawkins also, the 2-point plays turned into 3-point plays by Hawk and Clayton. Certainly, yeah, those were big. And that might have been also Houston frustrated, but also with the fatigue Bull Gator brought up because Hawk, there was no way they should have fouled him, and that was a desperation foul.
Yeah.
How much money has Clayton made this tournament in his future?
A whole lot.
I hope he made a whole lot.
I hope this game didn't diminish it though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't think so because he just showed his true leader as a true leader because, I mean, he wasn't scoring, but he was assisting, making assists, like rebounding, doing everything until he got his own. And then, when it's clutch time, who get the ball to.
Something else, guys. Houston, 15 offensive rebounds, but get this. So that was 7 more than Florida. Houston had 15 offensive rebounds, and they had 10 second chance points. Florida had 11 second chance points on 3 less offensive rebounds.
Wow.
Second half team.
Yeah, Florida with 32 defensive rebounds to Houston's 24. So Florida's rebounding, was, I guess I would say, more impactful, especially when you get those second chance points. You had 1 more second chance points when Houston had 7 more offensive rebounds. Bench points, 7.
Really
Houston with 17.
Oh, sorry.
But okay, last one. Houston 17 bench points. Florida 14 and points in the paint. Florida with 28. Houston with 24.
Everyone.
It was very telling when all of their free throws, they would just have guys back.
Yeah. Fast break points. Once again, guys, I was just saying, Florida just winning. Florida had 2 fast break points the whole game. Houston only had 4.
Yeah.
So played the game Houston wanted to. Florida comes away with a 2-point victory.
See, I don't love that stat because there was many times where it'd get up to Clayton and then he'd throw it up.
Yeah.
And dunk.
Rod Mills brings up a good point, and I kind of hit on it here, but it is a good question to ask, guys. He says Gators were battle tested the whole tournament. So if the UConn game didn't go the way it did, and the Texas Tech game didn't go the way it did, do you think And of course, hypothetical here. Do you think Florida pulls this one out? Or do you think because of those games that helped them pull this one out?
I think that was just normal. I mean, we trailed UConn by 3 with 4, trailed 9 to Texas Tech with 3, trailed 8 Auburn halftime, and then obviously trailed 12. So I think that was just kind of normal, wasn't it?
For the tournament, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I guess there's probably something there, As I said, if they had blown through the tournament up to the point, let's say they had, I guess everybody was talking, but Florida had been tested throughout the season. So don't get me wrong, it's not the best comparison, but Duke, of course, they weren't able to put the finishing touches on their game against Houston. I wonder if Florida had gone a couple of weeks by not being tested, or end up playing some games like Duke, would they have folded in this situation?
I'm gonna just say I think we would have beaten Duke, man.
Well, I mean, we're the ones holding the trophy, so we can say it all we want to and believe it all we want to.
I just feel like personally, I think the whole SEC schedule prepared us for the tournament
There you go.
and for this game.
I think Walter too. He's been all season. He's just cool. He's just cold as ice all the time. I mean, he's never too high, never too low. And I think when you've got a leader like that, and then you go through the wickets of the SEC, I think that just leads you to be able to maintain that kind of composure through any situation.
The
JP,
only thing is that I kind of wish we could run it back like the back-to-backs back then. We won't be able to run it back like that though.
yeah, that's what you call being spoiled. So there's a reason those things are special, because it's hard to do. JP Gator said Hall with the plus 14 plus minus. The lineups with 2 non-shooting bigs was rough. No spacing for the shooters. Yeah, certainly played a role in this tournament with Chinyelu and Condon not being able to do much on the offensive side. More so Condon, because we had actually seen him do it.
Howe is a special guy.
Yeah.
He literally saved us many times. Like, I can't thank that guy enough.
And even if it wasn't, like the big game that he had, there was still some moments, I think it was against Auburn where
Yeah.
he had the 3-pointer just when Florida needed it, so just
Yeah.
yeah.
He did the same thing tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was so small, like, he just got the board, got the layup or dunk I'm thinking of, and he helped change the game. Like, I can't thank that guy enough.
Come to think of it, I think about 4 of these guys can come back next year if they want. About 4 of them at least.
No, I was trying to go through some more stats there, but I think we hit the most. We hit the most major ones.
That and one by Hauk, that was pretty. That was a momentum changer right there.
It was. I was saying, to me, it was a desperation penalty or a foul on Houston, because it was not even needed at all. And I was okay, thank you. I'll take it.
That was thanks to Howe's positioning. If
Yeah.
you see him on the replay, he moved to the body just for that. Like, it was a perfect basketball play.
Looking at both teams, now looking at it, Cryer for Houston was the leading scorer for both teams with 19. So Will Richard had 18. So nobody over 20 points in the game.
Wow, man.
Here's an interesting stat put up on Twitter by, I guess, Neil Blackman of Florida Basketball Hour. It says Gators won the national championship navigating a path that is tied for the toughest all time for a number 1 seed since the tournament expansion in '85, tied with UNC's 1993 path. So we earned it.
Darn right.
Now you got me wondering that 1993 college basketball season.
What's special to me is we beat them at their own game too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were talking about that earlier. Absolutely. I mean, Florida just being able to just play whatever style and finding a way to come out on top. Of course, it didn't look pretty, but you were able to play that style and still find ways to win. 93 was the North Carolina-Michigan final, and of course the famous timeout call.
Oh yeah. Chris Webber.
But yeah, you're looking at North Carolina, coached by Dean Smith, won the national title over Michigan. Bobby Hurley, Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, Lamar Murray. Duke was upset in the second round by Cal.
Wow.
Didn't you guys love like how many TV commercials?
Oh man, that's one of the only bad things about the tournament is it's also the same commercials for like 3 weeks. So once you've seen them, opening weekend is pretty much the same all throughout the 3 weeks.
Seemed like every time we were making a run,
Yeah.
like no, we got to stop. No, we can't let Florida get going.
To me, that was most noticeable in the Maryland game when the key to winning was wearing out their first 5 guys. And I'm like, oh my God, they're giving them a rest every 2 minutes. Oh, and one more thing about how this was a tough road. Let's not forget, this was the game versus Houston in Texas.
Good
Although,
point.
shout out to the Gator fans that went there.
Shout out.
Because I think, from what I heard, we outnumbered them.
Yeah, from what I could tell too, Bull. And I mean, I had people sending me pictures all day. I was looking at people there and sharing their videos, and I was like, of course, I know everybody's around Gator fans because you are a Gator fan, but you didn't see a whole lot of red. And I was, of course, I work at Channel 4 WJXT here in Jacksonville, and Jamal St. Cyr, our sports reporter, he's in San Antonio. And it was part of his report as well. He's like, look, Florida's dominating as far as the people that I see here. Because I'm going up and down what they call it, River Walk or whatever there. And the bars close to the stadium or close to the dome. And he's like, Florida fans are really severely outnumbering Houston fans so far. And that was around 5 o'clock on Eastern time. So, people can say, oh, Houston's closer. They can well, they should have been around there that time. So. Odds to win the 2026 men's national championship. Duke 11-1, Houston 12-1, Purdue 14-1, BYU 16-1, Kentucky was the next one. So Florida was not on the top 8 or 9 is what they listed there. But I wouldn't expect Florida to be, honestly. But this was a team, talking to Neil Blackman, and I had a whole bunch of radio hits and TV hits today previewing this Final Four and championship game, a team that was picked 6th in the preseason in the SEC ends up winning the national championship. Talked about Cinderella stories. There was not your Cinderella team. I thought there was Cinderella stories for this Gator team. Transfers that were not highly recruited coming out. Florida doesn't have, a roster full of All-Americans. Neil Blackman pointed out in the Final Four, Florida was the only team in the Final Four without a top, 100, 150 recruit. Only one 4-star, I believe, on the roster. He's not even playing. So, certainly a team that was put together greatly by Todd Golden in identifying and developing. We saw players get better throughout the season. And certainly just being able to have I give Todd Golden a whole lot of credit for being such a young coach in the hardest time to figure out how to put a roster together, and him being so young and having to figure it all out at the same time and putting together a roster like this that can go win a national championship.
I was just thinking while you was talking there, we need to send what's his name, Riley Kugel. Need to send him a ring for leaving.
I think Ruben was a 4-star.
Was
He
he?
was the number 128 recruit. So I
Okay.
think he was actually a starter that was a 4-star.
Okay.
Portal God Todd. That's his name.
And I assume we'll probably get some news on that front too coming up in the next few days or so.
As guards are going to want to come play at Florida.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
I was just about to say that there's got to be a line waiting to come here.
And I know there hasn't been, and I'm not breaking any news because Neil has talked about it on Florida Basketball Hour, so I'm going to give him the credit. There hasn't been a flurry of contact. He said they've been smart about it, and they're really concentrating on the Final Four run and the national championship. Been a couple of conversations he was not going to share, and rightfully so. But Florida was not in heavy pursuit, honestly, because of this run. Putting all concentration on making sure they go win a national championship. Sean, Gator Flair there in the chat, celebrating at a bar there in San Antonio.
I would like to see us get that guy from Princeton, that guard. I had a chance to watch him live when he played Furman here. Man, that guy, he's nice.
Certainly going to enjoy this. Certainly going to enjoy it. If you're enjoying this, guys, if you want to take part, like I said, this episode's out there for everybody on YouTube and stuff, going live right now. To join Gators Breakdown Plus, we have chats like this a good bit. Come and we have text chats there, as I said, as well. We have a basketball room that has been so much fun to be in this year. And, of course, come with what the results are, has been the most popular it has ever been in that basketball chat. But it has been a fun ride. I'm so glad I got to follow with you guys right here on Gators Breakdown Plus. And, just leading the charge there in that basketball chat room. Many of you, or a few of you, have been constants in there, and certainly support. Certainly glad that you guys support me, but I want to make sure I thank you guys too for carrying on the conversation a good bit. But definitely happy. If you guys want to be members, link is in the description. Join Gators Breakdown Plus. But certainly glad to have this platform for moments like this.
Hey, if I remember correct, remember the back-to-back champions? Didn't we win a national championship first before the football team won theirs?
Yeah, it was funny. Eric on Florida Basketball Hour asked me about that before I came on here. And he was like, does it make you any more excited for football and all that stuff? I said, only because it happened before. Like, if it had not happened before, we wouldn't be linking it as much, saying, hey, the football team can follow it up. But look, that was, we think, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. It's never been done before. Can Florida do it again? I'd sure love for it to happen. But I think the reason it does kind of, maybe, raise the radar is because it did happen. I don't think I would be connecting the dot as much. Say, hey, maybe this bleeds over into the football team. I think the reason we say that a lot is because it actually happened at Florida in that 06, 07, 08 basketball run.
Yeah, different circumstances, I guess.
Yeah. And I certainly want to, give this basketball team their kudos. Certainly glad that a lot of you guys reached out and wanted me to talk basketball, of course. And certainly going to give you guys, if you kept asking for it, certainly was going to put the content out there. Glad you guys followed along, and it was a fun ride. Certainly a fun ride to cover this team. Like I said, sometimes I just like to be a fan. So that's where the basketball and baseball and stuff comes in. And like I said, right here in the chat a good bit during the basketball games. I'll still talk with Gators Breakdown Plus members about it. But, to just be more of a fan. Football has turned, it's still a passion, still my main passion, but it has turned into something else with the podcast, and I'm grateful that it did. But slow it down and just kind of be more of a fan and not so look at everything so analytical and not so detailed. And I still like it. I still like looking at the numbers and stuff for basketball as well. Not as much as I do for football and what comes along with that. But this was a team I thought was worthy of putting the attention towards and the work towards, right in the middle of spring football practice for the Gators too, a busy time for me. But I certainly wanted to give this team their kudos. They absolutely deserved it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the last couple of weeks and the journey we had here together.
We
It was great.
Did we mention Billy D too, getting into the Hall of Fame?
You know what? We should. Yes, we have, but it's my first time thinking about it tonight when Florida is national champions on the same Final Four in the same weekend.
Ironic.
Billy Donovan gets... Great point, MJ. Good point, man. That completely... Of course, it was on my mind Saturday when it actually happened and Sunday and seeing all that stuff. But now being able to say Florida's national champions and linking it with that one does make it a little more rosy.
It's just perfect, man.
Dave, are they going to ask you back on Channel 4 to comment?
Yes, I am on at 7:40 tomorrow morning. So, or this morning, I guess I should say. So thankfully, it look, boy, that was planned already. Win or lose, it's going to be a whole lot easier now.
That's a much different interview.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'll be on Bill King there in Nashville, like I am every Tuesday morning. That's another thing. Like I talk basketball once a week on Bill King show during the season. So it's certainly it's not like I'm. And you guys in Gators Breakdown Plus here know this. I'm not totally oblivious to whatever for basketball or whatever. But certainly the conversation tomorrow morning on wherever I'm going to have it will be a whole lot of fun.
Oh, and by the way, that Hurley guy from UConn can stick it.
Yeah, it was all the refs.
You
Watching
guys
him.
heard that anecdote about UConn, how they were preparing for us for 3 weeks, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm glad you shared that.
Watching Hurley in person, that man should be on some meds for how psycho he is. It's crazy.
Intense. He's intense, man.
Man, there's some good looking merchandise out there.
Already ordered mine. I'm headed going to Nashville on Friday. So I have to have it before then so I can go shove it in all the Tennessee fans' faces.
Yeah. I don't know how some of the stuff says it's a special item, so I don't know how fast shipping will be on some of that stuff.
Some of it's stuff they're saying it probably won't ship until the 17th because I've been looking too. Unfortunately, my cart that I put together is hundreds of dollars, so I got to whittle some things.
I can keep track of it, and I certainly thank you guys for using the link, by the way.
And also, by the way, Dave, the rest of the sports world can stick it too. They really thought we were gone in the doldrums or something, but looks like we're back, man.
Hey, good point on that too, because Bull Gator was sharing it with us throughout the day. There was a lot of Houston picks today. Florida was the pick coming into the tournament, but when we got here on National Championship game Monday and Houston gets that win over Duke, there was more Houston picks than there was. Even Florida was the favorite in Vegas, 1.5. But as we were coming into the day, Houston was the team that was trending on the professional analyst level.
Yes, they brought the dream. They brought Hakeem the Dream out there to put in our face.
And let's give it up to, was it Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander of CBS? For picking against Florida in every game except Norfolk State. They're a perfect offer against Florida.
And who's the one guy who's been shouting out Florida and going saying when I think Florida was against UConn and he was kind of cheering that Florida was going to lose and Florida came back, and then almost every week he's been saying Florida's overrated and say it during the game, and then Florida ends up winning. So I gotta try and find that guy.
Are you talking about the guy on Twitter with the betting website?
Yes, him. I forget his name.
Yeah, I forget it. I forget his name, but every game, Florida's overrated. He eventually stopped when we beat Texas Tech, so he hasn't really said anything since then.
Wasn't it Gary Parrish that kept on picking against Florida, and then I've seen an interview today where he was talking about Todd Golden after the Auburn game, like 2 minutes after the press conference, texted him and said, "You better not pick us against Houston."
Richard Hawkins on Richard Hawkins on YouTube. Gary Parrish is a dummy. Gator on YouTube. For anyone that missed the game, it's already being replayed on CBS Sports Network.
I might have to go watch that.
Yeah, I will say, guys, I hope you use my Fanatics link. But if you need it fast, I know Academy sometimes will have the next day, and it might be like a limited amount, but I've seen Academy in some places have it like a day after, come into the store and get it, type of thing. So. Ben Chase, funny. I don't know if you guys saw his journey. He had a busted windshield with his Van Betty that he made the college football road trip with. His windshield got smashed on the way to Texas for the Final Four, and he just tweeted about an hour ago, "I will be smashing all the windshields."
Wow.
Hey, Dave, do you happen to know if Sports Illustrated still puts out those commemorative hardback books for the championships?
I don't
We
think
haven't won one in so long in a major sport.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I know the one you're talking about. Of course, they used to do it for all the schools, but I remember we collected so many of those from 06 to 08. I'm sure there will be some magazine put out there, but I don't. Yeah, Sports Illustrated doesn't do that anymore. Unfortunately,
it's a pity.
Yeah, it really is.
So there'll likely be a parade, right?
Here's what I put out earlier at 1:30 tomorrow at Flavitt Field on campus. There is a welcome party for the team. I'm going to imagine the spring game Saturday, so I'm going to imagine probably something halftime of the spring game to commemorate this team. There should be. There better be with all the fans that are going to be on campus for the weekend that they've been hyping up anyway. Which are going to have a lot of fans on campus for the spring game. So I hope they get something together fast and put this team out there in front of a whole bunch of thousands of fans.
We might need Walter to play a little quarterback this year.
What's the feeling on how you think he returns next year? I mean, because his draft stock, I've seen, is elevated too.
I'm going to say yes, but that's no educated guess or anything by me. It is just speculation on my part.
I want him back, man. I want him back. One more year, Thomas. One more.
I mean, because we could basically go really big next year, have him play the 3 with Condon at the 4 and Chinulu at the 5 if we wanted to. But I mean, I think that'd be a dominant front court right there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get some shooting though. I don't know from where, but maybe another guard or two in the portal.
For sure. All right, guys. I'm going to try and get some sleep. But thanks for hopping
Right, you
on,
might.
celebrating this special moment for us right here. Florida Gators, national champions in basketball. 65-63 over Houston there in San Antonio for the Final Four. Man, what a fun team to watch all throughout the season. Went through the toughest conference in basketball. Won that tournament. Put it all together and win a national championship. What a special team. What a special team.
Yep. All right. Good night, y'all.
Thanks, everybody, for hopping in.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Well,
Dave.
thanks, Dave.
Go Gators.
Go
Go
Gators.
Gators. National
Go
champs.
Gators.
National champs.